Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Ano, tušíte správně, že dnešní epizoda bude opravdu speciální, protože zde vůbec poprvé v historii našeho pořadu přivítáme zahraniční hosty. Na tuto výzvu se určitě těší známý jazykovědec a lingvista Tomáš Ujfaluši.
Servus.
Moje jméno je Michal Marek a hlavním partnerem pořadu je Společnost Puma, výrobce sportovního oblečení a obuvy a zároveň oficiální partner české fotbalové reprezentace. Ujfi, my se nacházíme na jihu Německa ve městě Herzogenerauch, kde má sídlo partner našeho pořadu, Společnost Puma. Měli jsme tady možnost si to projít a musím říct, že je to obrovský.
Je to obrovský, krásný, je to blízko Prahy, což byla fantazie. Jeli jsme asi 3 hodinky, takže myslím si, že to, co jsme viděli, jsme neviděli zdaleka ani 20% toho, co všechno tady, co tady je, ale měli jsme možnost vidět shop, fantastický, úžasný. Kdyby jsme se zdrželi trošku díl, tak to možná dneska ani nestihneme, ten podcast. No.
Ale my jsme byli dopředu upozorňováni, že ten první dojem je jako přijít do NASA, tak se chci zeptat, jestli tady bylo něco, co tě opravdu upoutalo.
No tak myslím si, že věc, která mě upoutala, tak určitě v podstatě ty národnosti, jo? Protože procházíte, když jsme byli si dát něco na zub, tak procházíte mezi těma lidma v té kantýně a slyšíte němčinu, angličtinu, španělštinu, italštinu, možná ještě dokonce nějakou japonštinu a tak dále. Takže
nevím,
určitě,
kde jste byl, protože já jsem neslyšel tolik jazyků, ale asi jsem tam zabudil.
Poslouchám, dívám se, to mám z toho fotbalu periferní vidění a pořád všechno
slyšení.
Jako, ano.
Periferní slyšení.
Periferní slyšení, vidění, prostě, takže spoustu prostě národností.
A když jsme procházeli kolem těch kanceláří, tak dokáže si sám sebe představit jako korporátního pracovníka, že by si měl pevnou pracovní dobu, svůj stůl s počítačem, slevu na obědy?
No tak jako, když se nad tím tak zamyslím, tak určitě pokud by to bylo v tom fotbalovém prostředí, že jste ten scout třeba, nebo nějaký analytik, máte sluchátka a opravdu přijdete do toho a teďka díváte se na ty zápasy, analyzujete soupeře a tak dále, tak zřejmě by to asi nebylo špatný, ale neměl jsem tu možnost.
No já si nejsem jistý, jestli to je pro tebe vhodná profese, protože když jsme se měli po cestě, tak jestli by si divákům mohl říct, kolik máš aktuálně nepřečtených e-mailů.
No, myslím si, že to je kolem nějakých 48 000.
Ale trápí tě to.
Ale to už jsem dalších 50 000 vymazal, jako jo. Netrápí mě to, protože já si čtu všechny e-maily, nebo respektive podívám se na ty e-maily, co mi přicházejí a pokud to je něco důležitého, což poznám, tak si to otevřu a reaguju na to, pokud ne, tak to tam prostě nechám a jednou většinou za 3 roky to promáznu celý a opravdu tam nechám jenom ty, mám tam samozřejmě složku důležité, kde mám všechno důležité.
Dobře. A ty jsi mi tou předchozí odpovědí trochu utekl, protože my jsme, jestli si pamatuju správně, v epizodě s Ondrou Čeluskou řešili, že jsi vystudovaný agronom zootechnik. Takže ano. Když by si nedělal fotbal, tak jaký by bylo to povolání, kterým by ses živil, nebo pro co bys měl nejlepší předpoklady?
Já si myslím, že by byl asi učitel.
Cizích jazyků?
Cizích jazyků to ne, to si myslím, že ne, protože na to jsem kápl v podstatě až po mém přestupu do Německa. A potom po každém přestupu jsem chtěl umět ten cizí jazyk, to znamená, nad tím jsem ani tehdy nepřemýšlel, to jsem studoval tehdy na střední němčinu, kterou už, jak jsem se i tehdy zmiňoval, tak to studování bylo takový, že jsem z toho nic moc nepochytil, když jsem vlastně začal žít v Hamburku, takže jsem musel chodit znovu do školy, rok, vždycky po tréninku na 3 hodiny. Ale já jsem se vlastně hlásil na výšku, když jsem končil střední, takže si myslím, že bych asi byl možná nějaký profesor něčeho, nevím teda čeho, tělocviku, možná zeměpis, něco takového, protože vždycky mi lidi naslouchali, takže si myslím, že by mi i žáci naslouchali.
I když vysíláme ze zahraničí, nic se nemění na tom, že i tuto epizodu můžete sledovat ve vysílání na ČT Sport, případně nás poslouchejte jako podcast v aplikacích Spotify nebo Apple Podcast, video pak najdete na YouTube České REPRE. My si jdeme teďka představit naše dnešní hosty. Prvním je Manolo Schrmann. Ten v Pumě pracuje 18 let. Má na starosti vlastně kompletní strategii toho, které týmy, jak národní, tak klubové, bude Puma sponzorovat. Fotbalovou terminologií 18 let v jednom týmu, takovýho srdcaře asi chceš mít. No,
v podstatě to je celá fotbalová kariéra, dá se říct. Já jsem skončil po nějakých 17-18 letech, takže určitě to bude zkušený borec, který v podstatě bude tady jeden z nejvyšších pozic a sám jsem zvědavý, co nám ke všemu řekne a jestli se budeme bavit v němčině nebo v angličtině.
No mě spíš zajímá, jestli si vůbec dokáže představit sebe 18 let ve vztahu.
Tak já jsem ve vztahu sám se sebou celý život, takže 18 roků jsem nikdy neměl. Doufám, že to ještě budu mít, ale je to fuška asi, no.
Společně s Manolem dorazí i jeho kolega Thomas Brown. Thomas má mimo jiné na starosti i vlastně vývoj designu dresů národního týmu pro rok 2026. Pojďme si trochu zaspekulovat, jak by ty dresy mohly vypadat, protože třeba já dlouhodobě hlasuju pro to, aby dresy národního týmu, alespoň ta jedna varianta, byly modrý.
Modrý se mi líbí, máš pravdu. Modrý si myslím, že by nebyla špatná varianta. Určitě bych zachoval tu červenou. Přemýšlím, jako ta Puma sama o sobě je úžasná. Jestli do toho třeba nedát nějaké kapky, do té červené by se to dávalo těžce, ale třeba do té bílé kapky krve, jakože zakousnou kořist, jakože jsou takový hladová Puma, jako jo. Aby jako ten soupeř třeba měl respekt už když vcházíš na ten stadium, do té řady, na tu hymnu, tak vyjdeš tam s těma dresama, tam vidíš třeba kapky krve trošičku, nevím, tak mi to napadlo teďka, no.
No doufám, že by si byl lepší učitel než designér, takže... Ale uvidíme, jak k tomuto tématu budou sdílni naši hosté, kterými jsou Manolo Schrmann a Thomas Brown. Our special guests for today's episode are Manolo Schrmann, Senior Director Global Sports Marketing Team Sport, and Thomas Brown, Senior Product Line Manager Team Sport. Manolo, Thomas, welcome to our joint show.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Guys, I'm going to start with a tricky question. What is your favorite animal?
I'm going to say a puma.
A dog. But I love puma. So
I did not,
a good answer.
I didn't expect anything else. Hopefully you don't take your work home.
Yeah.
Manolo, Sie arbeiten seit 18 Jahren für Puma. Können Sie sich noch an Ihren ersten Tag erinnern, als Sie angefangen haben?
Ja, sehr gut sogar. I will speak English if you're fine.
Okay.
But I remember really well. Actually, it was the 1st of June, 2006, when I started. And that was a Friday.
What was the weather?
I don't know how it was here, but I started in Salzburg, Austria. Weather was grey, but okay. One day after my birthday, so that was also nice. I spent one day at Puma in Salzburg with the colleagues in the regional hub, managing. The responsibility was EEMEA, Eastern Europe, Middle East and Africa as a whole, and I was in sports marketing. But on the Monday after, I was here in Herzogenerauch because we had a kickoff for the World Cup 2006. Very exciting times, great for me, great start to the job. On my first day, I was a bit overwhelmed. And on the second day, I met so many people from Puma. And immediately I was allowed to go into the world of football. That was really nice.
Mhm. Also dazu muss ich was sagen, weil 2006 ich war auch dabei. Und das war nicht gute WM für mich, weil ich habe zweites Spiel sofort eine rote Karte bekommen gegen Ghana, also bin ich sofort nach Hause gefahren.
Ja, das ist immer schlecht.
Ja.
Aber ich erinnere mich noch sehr gut an dich, an deine aktive Zeit. Auch bei Hamburg und dann später Fiorentina und Atletico. Von daher ist mir persönlich eine große Ehre, heute hier zu sitzen und über Fußball zu sprechen.
Dankeschön. Es erinnerte mich ein bisschen an die Geschichte von McDonald's. Sie bei den Pommes angefangen haben und sich bis zum Spitzenposition hochgearbeitet haben, als du angefangen hast, hier in Puma.
Ja. Yes, it's true. I started very young and very junior, and now I'm senior director for sports marketing. But it's an 18 years journey, maybe a bit less. But Puma today is not the same company that we were in 2006. We have more than tripled the global business since then, and we have completely different product, completely different teams, completely different market penetration. Our positioning as a brand has completely changed, and so do the people that work inside the brand. But I'm very thankful that I had the chance to learn from scratch, to get to know what it means to deliver boxes and shoes and test product and be out there hands-on. It allows me today, when I lead my team, to tell them that I know what they do because I went through the same, and the challenges never stop. And I think we are in a great industry, and there are exciting years ahead of us. So the last 18 were nice, but I'm sure the next 10 will be fantastic.
Thomas, question for you. Can you imagine being here for that long one day?
Wow. To be honest, I think I can. I love football that much. I love making products, and I love working with, I guess, global sports teams. But just anything in football for me is a real privilege. When I was a kid, obviously a huge football fan, playing football a lot, and to imagine being able to have it as a full-time job, to be able to create jerseys, to think of colours, to go into depths with different teams, learn about the fans and learn about the different cultures that surround football is,
Yeah, there's a
it doesn't
question
feel
coming
like
up
a
later.
job.
Yeah. Okay, but now it's like that Manolo is your boss, right?
Manolo isn't my boss. He's the director of sports marketing.
Yeah.
So I would, maybe you want to describe that a little bit, Manolo, in terms of what sports marketing?
Yeah, we can. Of course, unless you have a question that leads to that.
Sure.
But it's true. We're working together. Our teams are working together. But we at Puma we differentiate between sports marketing and the business unit team sport. Yeah, so sports marketing, this is my area, and then there's also marketing in sports. Yeah, so other companies have different definitions. For Puma, sports marketing is related to the sponsorship work out there. So we analyze the different markets, and we contribute to the brand portfolio with partners that we like to sponsor, in my case in the area of team sport, that allow the brand to create a beneficial partnership for both parties. Yeah, of course there are some goals that Puma has. There are also some goals that the partner has, like Jaké, and if we identify the right partner, then normally the partnership should be successful and exciting.
But from your perspective, is it important to understand the game itself?
Oh, absolutely, 100%. Like Thomas said, I love football. I was a football player myself. I never had the talent that was required to become top-level footballer.
So how talented you were, actually?
I was all right. I played for Eintracht Frankfurt. Jupp Heynckes was one of the coaches who took me when I was 17 to a training camp with Frankfurt. I had the pleasure to play with Jerzy Okocha and Tony Yeboah on friendly games, Gaudino in training, many players from the late 90s when Frankfurt, before they were relegated. But there are many 17, 18, 19-year-olds who are good and who have the chance to train with the first team. But then you also need to I don't know, be better than others or special at the right time. There are many reasons to me. At the time, I was not ready yet, and I went a different way. Decided to study. But to your question, when in my area in sports marketing, when we try to identify our partners, whether it's a player, a federation, or a club, you also have to have an understanding of the performance and the development and history of a club or a federation or a player. And I believe that coming from within football helps you to see more, to understand better, to see trends. If you see a generation of young players, that is already exciting. You know, in a few years there will be even better. If you see football federations working in certain structures, or not. You can also understand, well, is there a lot of conflict inside the federation or club between the player and the organizing body? A lot is about managing expectation within an organization, the same at Puma, and of course also in a football team, right? A young player always wants to play, senior captain always has an idea on his team. When I played 25 years ago was different, right? The young players were young and the senior players had all the rights and we had to listen and do everything, right?
Also different needs.
Yeah, different needs. We had to learn first and to fight our way into the team. There's still an element of that today, but teams are much younger, players are much further in their development at a younger age. The game is much faster. And I believe it helps to understand that and to see, to also have a, we try to take decisions based on all considerations of all angles, and performance in football is one of it.
Thomas, I'm gonna get back to you because there's one fact one fun fact I found about you.
Okay.
That you used to work for a Puma competitor. So why did you quit?
Puma is better. No, I think that Puma offers honestly a really great opportunity, especially in football, to be part of, let's say, here at the global headquarters. You really are able to take something from the very start right to the very beginning. So as Manolo says, when these guys sign a club or federation, then it would be then my task, or it would be basically my manager's task to give those different football teams and federations to each employee. Fortunately enough for me, it would be currently Manchester City and the Czech Republic. And what's great about that then is that you can really deep dive into those teams and those federations, and then you sort of take it from there and you work alongside the team to make sure that, that everything is going well and everything has been respected. And I must say that in most other places in Europe, there isn't that sort of ambition or goal to take something from this area and make it right from scratch. Whereas here in Puma, you start with the very base of the jersey without any colours. You make sure you go to the factories, you design the fabric itself, and you take it all the way through until what the players are wearing on the team coach, how they are carrying the bag, the different water bottles. You know, it can go very, very deep. And Puma is one of the only companies that offers such a wide range from the very beginning. And that's something, as a product nerd, that's something that I would love to be involved in from the very beginning.
We're going to discuss it later on, but my following question was, wasn't the best reason to hire you when you had the experience from the competitor?
Yeah, I mean, I cannot speak for why my boss hired me, I guess, but I think that one thing that's, again, for me it's a little bit strange, but even from a child and going forward, I was playing football a lot, but my friends were very, very good. So they were playing in the Liverpool Academy, in the Manchester United Academy. And the way that I sort of tagged along with those guys or made myself prominent in a group of very good football players was actually through football products. I'm a huge retro jersey collector. I have thousands of jerseys at home, all from different teams and brands and everything included. And really that was my standpoint, and that's kind of what got me into football products so early. So it's really, truly an obsession of mine.
So can you tell how many jerseys do you own?
I have 1,500 jerseys at home.
So really specific.
When you collect them, you count them, you know, there is a lot. A lot of them are currently at my mum's place back in Manchester, so she is not very happy to have so many jerseys at home.
Where do you store them, actually?
They're in my mum's home. Yeah, so she is, the spare room at home is full of 1,500 jerseys, so she is not best impressed with that, but in the end we cannot throw those ones away, you know.
And is it more like a collective thing or something for business, in the future? Or?
No, collecting. Collecting is really my passion. I'm a very nostalgic person in general, but also going into those super niche stories about players is honestly something that I love. Again, I know to most people it sounds probably pretty strange. But I actually grew up just outside of Manchester in Bolton, and the team there at the time was Bolton Wanderers. That's why I'm amazed that you played with JJ.
Yeah.
JJ is one of my favourite players ever. And it's kind of diving into those elements of football culture that really makes me tick, let's say. And that's why for me this job is, it's not a job, it's really a pleasure.
Okay.
Puma ist ein großes Unternehmen, wo viele Menschen beschäftigt sind. Wie viele Mitarbeiter kennen Sie persönlich?
Puh. Wie viele Mitarbeiter kenne ich persönlich? How many employees do I know personally?
Wow.
Yeah, at Puma.
We can simplify the question. How many people work here?
I've been here for 18 years. If we assume that I got to know 20 people per year, I should at least know 360. Of course, not all of them are still at Puma, so maybe 200. I don't know. Way too many people come and go. It's a great company to start. We have a lot of young people who started at Puma, which also means that many of them leave. And this is a first step into the industry, and some come back. So there is quite some fluctuation. We're very dynamic, and that's how it has to be. We have, I believe, as of today, around 21,000 people around the world. Yeah, we include all the store managers and the different stores, so across the world, talking about Puma employees. Here at the headquarters, we have 1,700. Not everybody is in every day. We have some home office regulations, but we have many people who are also traveling on the road, so the office is not fully packed. It's a very young company. We have an average age of 30 to 32 maybe. So because of me, the average age is old. I'm 47 today, but when I started, I was around that. 28, 29 I believe. And I don't know. I know a lot of people, but there's so many new faces that I have never seen.
But you also mentioned there's so many nationalities.
Oh yes, it's true. And I have to ask our people in the organization department, because it changes every week. We have more than 90 different nationalities at Puma headquarters. It's beautiful because you see different cultures everywhere, and it makes you be aware every day of different needs of different people. Very important in our job as well, because we need to dive into the culture of our clubs and partners and federations and understand them.
But I can imagine that sometimes it might be difficult to find the right understanding when there is so many different nationalities.
Yes, it's true. I think communication is a challenge sometimes, but it's also the most important thing. If people don't talk, if we don't understand each other, we can talk about the same thing, but we can mean something completely different. So sometimes you see that also on the football pitch, right? The coach says something, the players do something else, or the other way around. But communication is important. And having many nationalities also allows you to question, did you understand it the right way? We can exchange with our peers. In my family, it's a melting pot of cultures as well. My wife's name is Lenka, so it's a Czech name.
Yeah, we're gonna get to it.
And there is some Czech blood and from her side, and I'm Mexican, German, Austrian, so my kids have everything. Getting to know different cultures, I think, is only fruitful for everyone.
Mm-hmm. And even though we are sitting here in HQ, which is based in Germany, it's a German company. What's the primary language here?
English, I would say. When I started, it was German, very clear, in 2006. But over the years, the global functions have grown here. We also had a time where we centralized many functions to the headquarters. We closed our design headquarters in London, and we brought everything to Germany. We have undergone various structural changes, and therefore now we have such a multitude of English-speaking people that the main language is English. But of course, we also have people here who are responsible for the German market and who come from the area and who work in accounting. For instance, there are many other areas, also corporate PR or finance, where German is required, and they need to deal with the local authorities, and that's also fine.
Also kann man sagen, dass wenn du auf dem Flur jemanden triffst, dass weiß zum Beispiel überhaupt nicht, wo du bist? Kann passieren? Oder die Leute, die hier arbeiten, die kennen euch alle?
Kann passieren, ja. Kann passieren. Especially in my case, many don't know where my office is because I moved to the other building. We used to be here in this one. But at Puma, people come first. We believe that people are the most important asset that the company has. And what we did when we structured the buildings is that canteen is in the center of all the buildings because that's where people come together. And also people in organization. So human resource is also in the center because everybody passes this area. If you have a problem, a need, you can always speak to your business partner at people in organization. And if we go to the canteen, that's when we see everybody. So we meet each other, we see each other. We often don't know where do they sit, where are their offices, but we can relate.
Or if they are even working here.
No, we can tell by the shoes. We can tell by the shoes who works here.
Okay. In the introduction, I mentioned your job title, which is quite hard to remember it. So I was wondering if you can even repeat it by yourself.
So, Senior Director, Sports Marketing Team Sport. That means I'm responsible for all the sports marketing related areas in team sport. Of course, I don't do that by myself. We have I have a wider team. We manage football federations, certain clubs and certain players. And there is not only one global department. We have many counterparts in the different countries, areas and regions. And the reporting structure is also not in a way that everything is centralized and I do take responsibility for everything. It's clearly defined who has what kind of responsibility. And in our area, in sports marketing, team sport, and that's predominantly football. Okay, although we have other sports as well. We can talk about that a bit later. We here manage all the football associations centrally, which is reflected also in the business unit work when it comes to product. And then we have Manchester City, AC Milan, Borussia Dortmund. We added now Red Bull Salzburg and RB Leipzig that are centrally managed by the global sports marketing team. Most of our most relevant global players are also with the international structure. And then there are many other clubs and players that are managed locally by the market because they know best what is best for their market. And then we are a support function. You know, we support other colleagues with their needs on all areas. Service level, product development, sponsoring analysis. Yeah. Long answer to your short question.
That's good. That's great.
Nach welchen Kriterien wird entschieden, welches Team von Ihnen gesponsert wird?
We have many different criteria that are relevant for the decision to sponsor a team. I would think the most important is a brand fit first. We have certain brand values. Puma stands for a certain type of brand. Our way of working is also defined by our brand values. And we would like to partner up with partners who either have similar values or where we can contribute and grow together and create great, strong synergies. Of course, there is a market consideration. What do we need in what market? If you already have 10 clubs, maybe you don't want another one. If you have no football club, then maybe you should invest if you want to be in the football business. So market reality is one element. Commercial reality is also relevant because we are in the business to earn money, to sell product, not only partner and sponsor clubs, but also be a strong brand in the football business. And then, of course, performance. Yeah, performance is also important. we are a successful brand. We have strong product. We stand for innovation. Our partners ideally also win titles. Yeah, we have a very strong portfolio at the moment. We're very happy with that. There are many reasons to identify success, right? Performance. Sometimes it's a qualification for Euro. Sometimes it's winning the Euro, winning the Champions League. But it doesn't always have to be the highest achievement, right? We have certain partners who set their own targets, right? You want to qualify to the next World Cup. That can be a massive achievement for federation.
It's always our achievement as speaking for Czech Football Federation.
Do you see? So I would not say we sponsor you because you have to win the World Cup. No, but there are many other reasons, and Czech FA is a great example. So I don't know if this answers your question.
So when you mention the performance, I guess it's not only about the sports performance, but also it's the whole package, like how they work on social media, like they behave in the basically in the digital world. So who is the person who decide whether to sign the contract or not? Mm-hmm. Is it you?
It's also me. It's not only me. We work as a team. We have a board of management. We have a supervisory board. We have different leaders within the business unit, team sport, and sports marketing. I also have a boss. Yeah, so my boss is responsible for all the sports. So not only team sport, but also track and field and Formula One. And it's a joint analysis, discussion, and decision. Of course, it's important to understand the partner and to see how they perform in the different areas. Marketing, commercial, performance, talent development even, if we talk clubs and federation, infrastructure. All of that is relevant. In football, we have seen esports growing from nowhere. 20 years ago, we didn't have any esports. Now it's part of every federation, of every club. Social media is a complete different way to market and to talk to the consumer. We didn't have that 20 years ago. We used to do PR events and we had pictures for the newspapers. That doesn't happen anymore, right? The social media plan has to be aligned with the brand plan, rollout of brand campaigns, football campaigns, federation campaigns. And of course, the more you work together as a good partner, the better the result. So if there is no structure and you cannot do anything with a partner, then you're responsible for everything yourself. And that sometimes does not lead to the best results. So
can you tell how long does the process take from the first approach to signing the contract eventually?
It's a difficult question because it's very different from contract to contract, partner to partner. If we talk about a partner who is with a competitor brand, there is an existing contract. So we need to respect the contract that is in place. There is exclusive negotiation period normally. There are embargo periods where you're not allowed to talk. And we need to respect all of this. And sometimes you cannot sign anybody because you're too late or you're too early or they're not allowed to talk. But I would say if we talk about a club or a federation, 2 years before you sign with a partner is the right time to talk about the future and to ideally agree. Many times you don't have 2 years because contracts don't allow that. So you need to be creative in our world. We need to accelerate processes. We need to find alternative routes to go to market fast. We need, in an ideal world, around 18 months from product development kickoff until the launch of a product. This is when you do everything right. And we want to do things right. We want to onboard the partner early. Like you said earlier, we would like to understand, talk, get feedback, have different rounds of sampling and testing, because once we go to the market, it has to be perfect. Quality has to be right, and everything else. So it's similar for all the brands, I believe, but we have a very honest and bespoke individual approach to every partner, which I really love about how we do and how we also work together in our teams. But of course, 18 months, 24 months, that's a luxury we often don't have.
Also, was würdest du sagen, was ist Ihr größter Erfolg?
Größter Erfolg? Persönlich oder als Puma?
Als Puma.
Also personally.
Personally. My biggest achievement. I don't know. I think we have many stories of firsts and greatests and bests, whether it's on product development, product innovation, to have the lightest shoe on the market, to have the most round ball, or to have innovation in shirt technology. We compete with other brands for excellence, and sometimes we have fantastic product. We always have fantastic product, but sometimes ahead of the competitor in a certain period of time. That's great. That's fantastic. Of course, we are also very proud of the achievements of all our partners. City winning the Champions League, going for 4 titles, not stopping, continuing to drive excellence. Borussia Dortmund, fantastic crowd. Gelbe Wand, the fans are very loyal. The club is very passionate. I have to be careful with mentioning clubs because I don't want to forget anybody, but you know, whether Slavia or Czech Cafe or Senegal, you know, Ivory Coast, strong federations who win the African Cup of Nations, who have great players, Sadio Mane, Mo Salah in Egypt. Puma is part of that, and we're part of their successes. And then I'm very proud of all the people that I worked with. Some have also left to competitors, and they've done a great job there. Some are still in the team. Without others, I cannot achieve anything. We need to work as a team. And then also the family of players that we have that joined Puma, I'm very proud of. You know, we had great achievements when we signed Tomáš Rosický to Puma. He was a fantastic player, and I was really, really happy when he decided to join Puma. He was with a competitor, and he had problems with his shoes, so he cut the shoes at some point because he needed more volume. And when we saw that, he said, "No, I can do the same with the Puma shoe." And we said, No. We will find a solution for you. We'll make a special boot for you. And I was very proud of that. He did not have to cut his football boots. You know, he got a very individualized product. There are many achievements, especially if you look at 18 years, that make me very proud.
Maybe one more question that just comes up to my mind. Why didn't you sign Tomáš Ujfaluši?
Well, with the looks and the long hair, you would definitely be a social media star today. Great football player. I don't know. Personally, I need to ask my Czech colleagues, or they didn't. But you would be a great player if you played today, and we would definitely target you to get some strong presence for Europa League titles, for league titles, for man of the match and team of the season.
Thomas, you come from England.
Yep.
Does that mean that working into football industry was your only choice for you?
Basically, yes, in the best way possible. I mean, especially where I'm from in the north of England, football is everything. That's really what keeps the sort of people who are living there going, I would say. where I'm from in Bolton is very close to Manchester, but at the same time, it's only maybe 20, 30 minutes away from also Liverpool and Everton and all of those huge teams. So really that is, you know, it's quite working class. Everyone is going to the game. Everyone saves and puts all of their money in to go in, being a season ticket holder, constantly following the team around the country, also on the international games. It's really a massive tradition, of course, and obviously it's the home to the Premier League as well, which is a truly great league that is always sort of setting the standard. So, yeah, I mean,
so dream came true.
It's a dream it really is a dream come true for me. Yeah, football is really everything.
But we also heard that you were a talented footballer. So yeah.
Oh my God.
So can we say how far or how close you were from making a living as a professional?
Oof, I don't know who told you that. It's definitely not true. Nowadays, I am focusing my whole life on paddle. If paddle was there when I was a kid, then maybe paddle I would have a chance. But football was, you know, not as, like I said, my friends were really setting the standard playing for Liverpool and Man United. So against those guys, I was never that good. I was a normal guy, you know. But actually, it's funny, and I think Manolo was actually good at football, so he gets away with it. But a lot of friends and colleagues that I've had it both in the past and also at these companies, especially when you work in football, everyone was going to be the best player ever, and then they had an injury that let them down, and they was on the way to the Ballon d'Or. So I can safely say I wasn't one of those guys, and I'm, you know, in the end, still influenced by football in other ways.
Mm-hmm. Your position is called Senior Product Line Manager Team Sport. What can we imagine by that?
Oof, yeah. I mean, it's a long title. I think in a short way, or another way to say it would be I'm almost like a time traveler, because actually, for example, let's take Manchester City as a context, which is one of the clubs that I am working with. So, of course, we have the products for this season that have just launched. We will also have products coming out in sort of January onwards that sort of segregate the second half of the season for when the guys go through in the further stage of the Champions League and whatever else comes. Then we will also make products for the Club World Cup and for the following season in Autumn/Winter 25, which the designs are already done. Everything is already signed off. That's also the training wear, the travel wear, and all the things that come behind. Then the following season in 2026, we already have the final designs. Everything is done. We will also now be working on the collections that surround that in the year 2026. So that is a long time away. We're working on all of these different years at the same time, which sometimes can get a little bit confusing. But also my job, and sort of that's where more the senior title comes in, that I'm really, really proud of, is one of my tasks is to work on the future of Puma football in terms of the materials we use. So currently we're using the material Ultra Weave, which is our pro material. It is my job to look into that material and evolutionize it for 2028 when we go to the Euros in the UK and Ireland. So that jersey that then you would put the Czech Republic crest on, you would put the Manchester City crest on, and you would put the designs on that. The very base and the material of the jersey is one of my tasks. So I'm working from now in 2024 all the way 4 years ahead in 2028, every single day. Each meeting, I'm in a different year. So I would say I'm a product line manager and a time traveler.
Okay. And where do you get your inspiration for the jersey design or the product design?
From lots of places. I think the first one would be that, as Manolo mentioned, there is a lot of guys here in Puma that are from a lot of different places. So it's always good to definitely double check with people from that country or that particular team of, is it the right thing for the fan? We also do a lot of consumer insights here in Puma, so it's very important for us to double check with who that consumer of that specific product would be, what they like, what they dislike, what their heritage is, what colours they like, for example. That's crucial. But I think one thing that Puma do very, very well amongst any of the competition is for our products and every single team that we have what's called a persona approach, which means that for every single team, we have their own special persona. So they might be ambitious, they might be traditional, they might be very focused. And what we basically are able to do with that type of information is make sure that every single product that we make with each design is really honing in on that specific club or federation, which then means based on the research we have done and the connection we have with the different clubs, we are never too far away from what the fan doesn't want, because we make sure that all of those details have been put into the jersey, made for that person. I must say that as much as it is a great creative privilege for me to be able to be in conversations of different colours and what the graphic may eventually be, I must say that the final decision is in the hands of the clubs, the federations and the consumer, which I can definitely say that in the other competitions that are surrounding us, sometimes that isn't the case. Sometimes you would see, okay, that's a red club, they get the red jersey, they don't get any special details, there is nothing on the nice name, there is no Czech lion on there, whereas here in Puma, from the very top to some of the lower clubs we have, we make sure that every single detail is personalised for every single product that we do, and I think that that is really our unique selling point here in Puma.
Welche weiteren Sportarten sind für Puma wichtig und mit welcher Strategie gehen Sie bei der Auswahl?
Also, next to football, we also have other sports, of course. Formula One is a big and very important area within Puma. It's less of an active, but more of a following sport, right? Where we have fans, where we go to the races and we look at all the circuits and drivers. Basketball is something that we have re-entered after having been there in the 70s and 60s even, I believe, yeah. Late 60s. But of course, if you also want to be successful in America, in the States, you need to also dive into basketball culture. Yeah, there is no sports without basketball, I think, in the States. Of course, soccer is huge, high participation rate. Then we do golf. Yeah, golf is a business that we have opened up a few years ago with a known brand, Copra. And then if we go back and talk other team sports, there are many other sports, whether it is floorball or netball or cricket or rugby. In the different hemispheres and regions of the world, we have different traditional sports. So as a brand, we would like, of course, to be relevant in those areas too. And then we need to understand the local culture of sports and have a product that you can use to play your sport. We used to do tennis back in the days with Boris Becker, Navratilova and other greatest. Now it's not tennis anymore, it's more paddle. Yeah, there's a trend. So of course we need to be part of that trend and maximize a product offering or business approach. And then when I think football, of course, there are all the other football-related sports, whether it's futsal or beach soccer, indoor. We cater for all the palette of different football categories. Did I forget anything? Maybe?
No.
No, I'm happy you mentioned paddle, because I've seen there is a court outside of your HQ. Mm-hmm. So how do you feel about this fast-growing sport?
Well, I have an opinion, but you play paddle, so maybe you talk about that?
Yeah, sure. Paddle is my favourite thing. I only discovered it when I came here at Puma. We play football also on the outside court, sometimes at lunchtime. And I saw some guys playing and I thought, nah, what is that? In a glass box, it's rubbish, forget about it. And then one day my friend invited me because someone had dropped out, and I started playing, and now I'm addicted. I play maybe 4 or 5 times a week.
During your work time, obviously?
No, never during work time. I make sure the designs are done first. But yeah, no, honestly, it's a really great game. Obviously, as you said, it's a fast-growing sport, but I think that's because of a couple of different reasons. First of all, it's becoming more accessible. But also, on the other hand, I think it's a very cool thing to do. It's very sort of hip at the moment. But also the other thing I would say, and I am coming also from a little bit of a tennis background, before you do anything in tennis, you have to throw the ball up, you have to stand a certain way, you have to serve a certain way, and the actual complexity behind the serve in general puts a lot of people off. Whereas in paddle, in the end, there is a glass wall behind you, the ball cannot go too far, you serve underarm. It's very, very accessible to just begin for a lot of people. And then once you play, that's the the real trigger to continue. So I think that the accessibility behind is actually what's making paddle so big at the moment.
And talking about the product for the paddle from your brand, so
yes.
how important is it as of now?
I think it's very important, and I think it's growing. I mean, here I am working in football, but actually, like the floor that I am working on is team sport in general. So they are also manufacturing not only the jerseys but also the shoes. And this sport in general, because there is a lot of sort of turning almost 180 degrees, sometimes 360 degrees, the footwear is super important. So I think the guys are actually currently doing a great job, particularly on the footwear side, to make sure that, I mean, first of all, there is no injuries, but second of all, that shoe is working perfectly for such a sport.
Also, wir haben schon die Spezifikationen für die Auswahl der Clubs erwähnt. Gibt es die selten auch für die Nationalmannschaft?
Ja, natürlich. Nationalmannschaft ist eine Kunst für sich, würde ich sagen. The national team is very important. It's very complex approach to sign to partner with the federation. The national team, the football association of a sport for a whole country, is always the icing on the cake. That's the pinnacle of sports in your country. You want to play for your nation, you represent the sport and the nation. It doesn't get much better. You can play many clubs, but you can only play for one country. And you don't have fans, 20, 30, 100,000, you have a whole country. Yeah, you have millions that you play for. Yeah. Sometimes you carry hope as a player. You carry hope for peace in a nation. So being with the national team for a brand, I think, is incredibly valuable. Yeah. And of course there are other criteria, and you can make it very scientific. But I think this is the starting point to me. Yeah. That's also why the work is so important that we do. We need to. We don't want to give the Czech FA the Puma shirt. We want to give the Czech FA the Czech shirt with the Puma approach. Okay, we need to understand the country, the culture, the history first, and then we can give something back. And then if we talk football, of course, we have a FIFA World Cup every 4 years. We have billions of spectators. There's huge visibility on all the players and all the teams. So the brands get a lot of exposure. It's one consideration, but it's not the only one. And the same for Euros or African Cup of Nations, Asia Cup. Visibility is one thing, but I think is more the connection that you can build with the country. You know, if we sponsor Czech FA, we are inside Czech football. Yeah? We are part of the development of Czech football. The Czech FA is the association with the most members. Yeah, almost 400,000 active participants. Ice hockey is very relevant, but in terms of size, it's also very different, right? You don't have the same amount of players participating. If you look at youth and what they develop, football is the number one sport, not only in Czech Republic, but in many countries. And this is how we tap into a market to not only sell replica jersey or authentic jersey of the national team, but everything else, from football shoes over socks, tracksuits, for every individual and every club. And the FA is one of the greatest platforms that you can have, because you can expose your product and be in the middle of sports. Yeah, so there are many more reasons, but I think this is mainly it.
Yeah, for sure. But apparently you built a strong connection with our country, because Puma has been supporting Czech Football Federation since 1993, which is more than 30 years.
Yes.
So my question is, what are the main reasons that this connection has lasted so long?
Yeah. So 31 years, it's a long time. It's fantastic. We are very, very proud and very happy to be partnering up. You asked me for my biggest success earlier in the interview, and I forgot to mention something. But when we have the chance to work with the federation, and the contract comes to an end, you need to decide whether you continue or whether you part ways. Being together for 31 years means that we have done a lot of good things, that we have done a lot of right things, and that Czech FA wanted to continue with Puma, and Puma wanted to continue with Czech FA. That is a big success. That's a big achievement. Yeah. Of course, during a partnership, we have ups and downs, and not always everything is perfect. And sometimes white is too white, and black is too black, and the shirts are too tight. But we go through that, and we develop, and we get better. And the story of the partnership between Puma and the Czech FA is a story of togetherness and of understanding and of getting better over the years. Generations of players have come and have gone, and we continue to be the best. We try to be the best partner for them, but also for the federation, for the development, for the infrastructure, and anywhere where we can contribute, we want to do that. That's the reason we're still together, because I don't think we can completely change the business and next year sell 15 times more than last year. I think we know what we have, and we can improve. We can always get better, and we can always create better product to be more attractive, to sell more. But the reason is that there must be a reason to buy the product, right? There must be a reason to like Puma. And therefore, we need to do a lot of things right and create successful stories together. Czech FA qualified for every Euro since 1996. Fantastic achievement. Yeah? We had other federations from other parts of Europe and in the Southern Hemisphere who did not achieve that. Yeah? Who might have been more successful in other areas. We had a World Cup participation in 2006. You know, every time FIFA qualifiers are being played, we want you to qualify again and again. Yeah? And then there's many areas: social media development, women's football, esports. We are innovative. Innovation is one of Czech FA's brand values. Drive for excellence. That's what we want to do. Want to be brave, have fun with what we do, be joyful. And then, if the partnership is good, then we extend.
But there might be another good explanation why this relationship lasted so long, because as you mentioned earlier, your wife comes from the Czech Republic.
That's true. That's true. And we've been together for quite a long time, but not for 31 years. When he manages Czech FA in his portfolio of responsibilities, and when I started, I was also responsible for managing Czech FA from Salzburg, not by myself, with my Czech colleague at the time. But I spent a lot of time in Prague, visiting the FA, presenting concepts, presenting product, innovation. My wife never joined me, but I always thought maybe she should join so I can understand actually what is being discussed in Czech. But yes, I have an affinity to the country. My father-in-law, who passed away by now, he's from Prague, and we have family in Prague, and we go and visit from time to time.
Okay, so also das bedeutet, máš rád pivo? Magst du Bier?
Ja. And I was very ignorant 20 years ago because I thought the Germans drink most beer. I had to learn that is not the case. You know? Czech beer has a lot of tradition. I like beer a lot. But I try to drink less and less.
But I expected the answer would be in Czech, so I'm a little bit disappointed. Because you do understand.
Next time.
Because you do understand some words, right?
I do understand some words, yes, but I would not enter into a conversation. I tried to learn a Czech song that you sing to kids, yeah, but I never do that in public. No, I understand a few words. But
so maybe if we turn off the cameras, then
exactly.
It's your time.
Then I will talk to you in Czech.
Wie oft sehen Sie sich die Spiele unserer Nationalmannschaft an?
Leider zu selten. Unfortunately, not enough. I look at all the highlights always. Yeah? So I try to keep up with all the federations and all the clubs. But yeah, being there personally sometimes is a challenge for me. But we have many people, many colleagues who are always in the stadium.
Und wenn zwei Mannschaften, die beide vom Puma unterstützen sind, was ist die Entscheidung? Was für Mannschaft? Ist egal.
Es kommt immer drauf an, ja? aber grundsätzlich Puma-Mannschaft. Ja? Puma-Team should win. Yeah. Yeah.
But when there is a game where both teams are supported by Puma, so who do you cheer for?
I guess we all have a personal preference, but no, we support the Puma teams. So many times both are fine, right? I mean, you mentioned your game against Ghana in 2006, right? So it's also Puma at the time, or it's still. Yeah. Had I known you at the time personally, I think I would say no, check for sure, right? I have a lot of friends in Ghana today. Yeah, I'm very sad when they lose. They're going through a difficult period. They have good players, they play good football, but the results are not there. So they always kind of make it very, very tight in the qualifiers. If today Czech Republic would play against Ghana, I think I will have to support the better team.
Thomas, you are also in charge of designing the Czech jerseys for 2026.
Yes.
So at what stage is it now?
So we just, in the last couple of months, we started the initial design phase, which was sort of designing digitally. So we designed, obviously in collaboration with the Czech FA, the home jersey and the away jersey. We make that digitally, we check that is okay, and then we would then proceed to a first sample stage where you finally see a physical version. We just did that 2 or 3 weeks ago. Luckily, the Czech FA gave the thumbs up for the next round, and we will have 2 more sample rounds from now until maybe this time next year to double check if that sample is okay and the colours are correct and the collar is good and the Czech line is, of course, very prominent. And then we are good to go for 2026, and hopefully you guys qualify, huh? Please.
But can you imagine at least one set of these jerseys in different than the national color?
It's a good question. I think that in the end, especially when in football in general, I think that the home jersey is very, very sacred to a lot of fans. So if you made a Man City red jersey, or you made a Czech Republic green jersey, or whatever else it may be on the home, then you have a lot of problems with fans and everyone is sending death messages to you. So the home jersey, better to keep super prominent to the country. But actually what we see more and more, especially as time is moving on, is the away jerseys for both clubs and federations are becoming a little bit more daring. They're telling a little bit more of a story, especially if there is an anniversary or a special event. And I think that potentially going forward that could be something that we might be able to see with Czech. But the most important thing I would say is that when you do something as daring, maybe on the away jersey or anything like that, is that you need to make sure that the story truly makes sense to those people. So as long as that we have the sign-off that is correct for the people of Czech Republic, then it may be something that we could look into, yes.
Okay. Guys, we have come to an end of our interview. It's been a pleasure. So thank you for joining us. And obviously, we wish you all the best, not only in your working life, but also the personal one. Thank you once again and take care.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You are anytime invited to play paddle with us or football on the pitch.
Thank you very much. Tím končí i naše dnešní epizoda z německé Puma centrály. Příští týden se vám přihlásíme z hotelu české fotbalové reprezentace, takže se určitě máte na co těšit a do té doby se mějte fajn.